Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, where I forgot the image. Where is it? Oh, there it is. We've done it. We are on the test server, and in today's video, I want to cover the Sylvan Watchers faction crypt. This is stage 21, the highest stage. We are going in with an all epic and rare team. In fact, we've got two rares on this team, which has to be a first. The Sylvan Watcher rares, so powerful, and actually in a lot of ways probably the key to beating this crypt on a budget. I will after this run as well. I'll obviously talk about alternatives during this. I'll also show you the actual team I'm planning to use, including legendary champions as well, in case you do have those and what your best options are going to be. But this faction crypt, kind of a pain, right? That first wave, we do have the Reviver in Broadmaw. And on this second wave, we've got block buffs coming out there from Norog. And then we have the Unkillable and block debuffs coming out from Maneater. There's not a ton you can do about that, unfortunately, with just the epics and rares. You kind of just have to tank it through. Actually, a big theme you're going to see as we go through this faction crypt is bringing in lots of speed. I think speed is really going to be the key, especially when we come to the boss. This is a boss that does the irresistible AoE stun, and then he also does the ignore defense, enemy max HP A1, which is definitely going to kill people. So that's where our first rare comes in. This is Tree Knot, or Tree Shield Knot. I think it's Tree Shield Knot is his name, and he is just absolutely fantastic. This rare, he's giving us a speed aura for faction crypts. Brilliant. He's a void rare, so a little bit tricky to get, but certainly if you're a bit earlier in the game at this point and you're not able to finish the Newt fusion, I would definitely grab at least one copy of this guy, maybe even two copies, just to fill up the faction guardians a bit. You could even use a second one of these guys. Like, he works pretty well. But he's coming in, and he actually brings us a revive. He can revive 2 allies at a time, and he can give them a shield as well. His A1, oh, we can see it right there. It has a chance to place the small version of decrease attack as well, which is going to help us survive. Now, unfortunately, on the boss's first turn, he will cleanse that off, and he's going to come in. But here we go. You can see Tree Shield Knot. He's going to get smacked. We're actually going to build him in a regen set with as much speed as we can get. And you can see right there, actually fantastic when he is the initial target, because he can take that hit no problem, and we are good to go. So he's big part number one. Really, he is so clutch, so strong for this faction crypt. Arguably the strongest rare for any faction crypt in the game. He's actually insane. There is Wiranon, who's a great alternative in the epics, and of course Elva is a great alternative in the legendaries. But you can see we are just blasting through at this point. The key part of how we are blasting through, by the way, is that I have not built really any survivability on these champions. We have gone all out damage, and actually my legendary time was 2 minutes 48 seconds. I've slightly tweaked that team since. This time was 2 minutes 58. It's actually nice and quick, and bam, there we go. It's that easy, which is funny. Now, we've got some really good gear, and there are some key gear sets here that are coming in. Like, he's got quite good gear on. So Tree Shield Knot, I really recommend just healing sets on him to keep him alive. Alternatively, you could, of course, run Relentless. If you have good Relentless gear, just giving him extra turns, helping him cycle through is brilliant. But great choice for your aura. That speed in faction crypts, I think is so important to outrun the crowd control that the last boss does and get back to your revive on time. It's very likely, we ran the Shadow Bow Tierlack to keep us alive, but there's a pretty good chance you could have somebody die during this run. I think we did have one person die. It's actually a really nice revive, right? Then he has an AoE heal with a small version of increased defense. It's great. And then the small decrease attack. It's just a wonderful kit overall. We're looking for him as much speed as we can get, and as much HP, even a little bit of defense. We just want him to be tanky and fast, and that is it. I actually do have him with enough accuracy for the decrease attack, and that's probably worthwhile too. And to help with this, we're going to be grabbing accuracy in the tree there to start off, and then coming over, making his shield stronger, making his healing stronger, shield stronger there, and the revive. Obviously, the revive turn meter when someone's health drops low. More speed when someone is dead, making his buffs last longer, all the typical stuff for reviving, and then some defensive stuff as well, because why not? And that is him. Shadow Bow Tierlack, I actually have running in a shield set. A 30% HP ally shield for 3 turns. Against this boss, this is going to help us big time to survive, right? He also comes in and he puts a shield on all allies equal to 20% of this champion's max HP. So we want him to be quick, we want him to be fast, we want him to be having lots of HP. So between the shield set and putting out a shield with this, he's going to give us a lot of survivability. He also is going to reduce damage we receive from skills by 5%. He puts out that fail, going to be very helpful. Again, reduce that enemy max HP hit. He brings us increased speed, which is fantastic. And then he's got decreased attack as well on his A1. Just an amazing, amazing kit here. Key things we're looking for: lots of HP, lots of speed, and a little bit of accuracy for that. You can see, like, I didn't go crazy on his gear. He's got a bunch of defense, which he doesn't really need, to be honest. More HP would be better. More speed would be better. I tried not to glyph up gear and stuff like that to sort of balance it out a bit. For him, I did give him War Master because he has that AoE, and we don't really want to build him for damage. I think Lasting Gifts is really nice too, to extend that veil, and of course making his shield stronger as well. Also because he's putting out so many buffs, giving him turn meter when some buffs expire, or a chance for it, I think is quite good. That's what we're doing with him. Miss Rider Dahi, actually lacking masteries. My bad. Wow. Have I remembered? I remembered masteries on everybody else. Okay, good. Whoops. But Mist Rider Dahi, he comes in, and I built him with good speed, accuracy, crit. So there we go. That's why I obviously, when I was initially gearing him, I intended to do masteries, and I forgot I hadn't done them. That's why his accuracy is a bit low. But this champion is just fantastic, right? Increase attack, increase accuracy on himself. Oh, that's why he's got low accuracy. I'm an idiot, because of course he's buffing it up. The increased attack, he's going to hit hard with this. Comes in with an AoE decreased defense. His A1 can remove buffs and also gives him an extra turn. I think he's MVP for doing this faction quickly. That AoE decreased defense is absolutely crucial. If I was to do his masteries right now, I would be running him as a typical debuffer. So I'd be getting like the crit rate, and I'd be going straight down here. For Dahi, I'd probably be just getting him War Master. I'd be getting him accuracy here. I'd probably just get him healing when someone dies, because he's always going to buff up accuracy first, so he's never gonna not have a skill on cooldown. Over here then it's a bit more of a question mark. You give him more accuracy if you're stuck, or if you've got enough you get some turn meter. That's going to be fine. I probably get him for this crypt. I think Evil Eye's quite good for the boss. Alternatively, you can just get Lore of Steel. Cycle of Magic is a good option too. Extend his debuffs. I don't think, for example, that he needs. Now he's got 100% chance for decreased defense, so he doesn't need it. He's going to keep his buffs up all the time. Don't really need to extend his buffs. I'll probably give him more damage when he kills people. I will give him maybe some more healing when he's low life, and we'll give him more damage when he's high life. Something like that. Again, you can be flexible with this. It's not a huge deal. But yeah, decent attack, 100% crit rate, some crit damage, good speed. Speed is the name of Sylvan Watchers in my mind. Speaking of speed, we've got Ruella. She's going to help with that by giving us 20% turn meter and actually a crit rate buff. I did not build around this, but you could. She also comes in with the triple hit A2, but decreased defense, weaken, and decreased speed. Nice for the boss. And her A1 is a triple hit that can steal turn meter. Great for this boss as well. And with her, similar sort of thing. Good speed, enough accuracy, and then build her up with some damage. Right, you could actually drop her crit rate, seeing as she is buffing the crit rate. You know, you can totally build around that if you wanted. And then finally, I've Enda Moonbeam, who, for me, visually, is one of my favorite champions. Also, I don't think people know the name Enda, or they think this is a girl. I'm not sure if there's in other countries, like maybe Scotland and Wales and that sort of stuff, but Enda, certainly in Ireland here, it's an Irish name, an Irish man's name. Like I had one of my lecturers in college, the IT guy, his name was Enda. Shout out to Enda if you're watching. You're not, but if you are, shout out to you. But yeah, so I visually love him. I love the helmet. The hair is a cool touch as well, and just the autumnal vibe is very, very cool. So this and not to mention the cool spectral sword, this champion is badass, and I'm really glad he's turned out to be this good, and I can highlight him. Why is he good? AoE attack that hits pretty hard and places leech. I think this is super helpful when we're coming in with this team, right? What are we doing with this type of team? Lots of speed, lots of damage. Guess what? Leech is going to give us so much healing and help us just be extremely survivable. He's got a triple hit at random that can increase debuffs. Not amazing. And then he's got a decreased defense on his A1. Actually kind of okay, because this boss is cleansing off debuffs. Bit more speed for enemies under leech. Honestly, it's just all about he does good damage and he has that leech. And that is fantastic. For his masteries, well, let's go into his build first. So I built him with lots of damage, right? 5.4k attack, 183 speed, 221% crit damage. I've built him in good gear in Savage, right? So this guy is in some pretty serious gear. Again, you could even just prioritize more speed and drop the damage, drop the Savage. It's up to you. For the masteries, I went like this. So I grabbed him Helm Smasher down here. That's because of Savage gear to ramp up the damage. If you didn't have Savage gear, War Master is going to be just fine and give you nice healing against the boss. But fairly standard enough sort of stuff. He's really in for the leech, but he was really phenomenal. Honestly, super phenomenal. So there you go. That is that team. Let's run with the Legendaries. And then I've run out of keys. I did a little bit of testing and I finished one fight by accident. So for the Legendaries, very similar concept actually. So with this one, you can see one difference. So I'm still running Mistwriter Dahi and Ruella. I think they're both so good for this boss. We're upgrading our Reviver from Tree Shield Not or Not Shield Tree, I don't know what he's called, to Elva. And we're going to be bringing in King Galkabar instead. Now, King Galkabar is actually really, really great for this because he can actually place block buffs and he can strip buffs off. So he's going to make it very smooth. Oh, also, we're going to replace Enda because we don't need the healing. We've got Elva and King Galkabar, right? So we're going to bring in Kellen the Shrike instead, who's built for damage. He's got an AoE attack that does more damage for each debuff on the target. King Galkabar can put out some of that stuff. And his A2, I think, is really good. He can decrease target's turn meter by 50% and put on decreased speed. He's got even a weaken on his A1. So I think he's a really nice complement for the boss. And let's click go and let's go. But yeah, broadly speaking, this is what I feel is the concept for building this faction. Mistwriter Dahi, best in class, AoE decreased defense, even brings his own increased attack. A Reviver, either the rare, epic, or legendary. I do think the epic is better than the rare. I do think that Elva is the best of them all, of course. I think she's really good too. Obviously, Ruella is really nice just for the boss. She's going to be good. And then a protector, either Shadowbow Tierlach. You could bring in White Dryad Nia is another really good. She's an epic one. King Galkabar, the legendary. And there's other options too. But yeah, we can see we're coming through here. We've got some weak hits. I guess that's one nice thing about Enda, actually. Ruella filling in. Enda, kind of good affinity for wave 1. Wave 2, this is definitely the annoying wave. This is where Dahi, we hope that he pops off and does some decent damage. We can see fairly decent hits from Kellen the Shrike. Kellen the Shrike is certainly not amazing, I will say. He's not fantastic, but he's not bad either. So here we go. We're resisting that stuff, no problem. You can see the shielding from King Galkapar. It is so strong. We're decreasing some of that turn meter. We finally got the decreased defense out. It took a while, but we got there. We're getting some kills in here. Just lucky that we happen to be stealing turn meter off of him. Again, annoyingly, that unkillable buff went up, but Galkabar, boom, he comes in, strips it, and turns it into poisons, which is going to help us just auto-farm this very quickly, right? Just stress-free. You could also just bring in more crazy gear and more crazy damage and just kill everything. I think that's a good option too, especially when you don't really care about 3-starring it. You just want to, go. We've used all of our decreased defense moves on turn 1. Of course we have. Galkabar is going to take a hit, actually almost dies, gets crit. That certainly hurt. Gives himself a shield with his A1. And between Elva's healing as well, he's actually looking fairly tanky. The boss agrees with me, switches target. You can see this turn meter steal from Ruella being really good. We're going to get the decreased defense back on, maybe. There we go. He's a million extra turns. Mistwriter Dahi is like, listen, the legendary team, we've got to outspeed this other team. It's got to happen. Elva revives after we lose somebody. We get some turn meter boost. Galkabar puts a shield back on. Dahi is he's just popping off he's just going to solo the boss. He's just going to solo the boss. And there we go. The best time. 224. Mistwriter Dahi coming in. I genuinely think you could probably, for best time, you could probably just do Elva and 4 Mistwriter Dahis. You could probably do that. Maybe 3 Mistwriter Dahis and 1 like King Galkabar just to strip off the buffs in worst case scenario. But yeah, that's how that one works. You see Dahi, he's doing all the damage. This guy is insane. I actually genuinely think, I'm not joking when I say I genuinely think Dahi, because he brings a decreased defense AoE and his own increased attack, I genuinely think he's actually better damage than even Eilil would be, like who'd be the other top damage champion for this faction. He's just better. But yeah, you've got lots of good options. Creodan is good for crowd control. Duodan could be good for protection. Nia, Weirin on. You could bring in Ornn with poisons and stuff like that. If you're really low on damage, I feel like this boss is very squishy and he cleanses, so I don't think Ornn is a good option. I know people like him. I thought he might be okay too, but I'm not sold on him, to be honest. So I wouldn't bother. I'd be more going for the Dahi, Ruella, Kellen, Enda sort of route. But yeah, there are some ideas. Let me know what you think. What are you going to run? The best thing, I think this faction is actually quite doable just because these rares are so good. Kate's not bad. Margrave's okay. Riab's kind of terrible. I wouldn't bother with him. But Tyrlak is seriously good. Recommend shield set or bolster set. And Tree Shield Knot. That is definitely his name. Brilliant as well. Really good champ. There you go. See y'all next time. Goodbye.